Welcome back to part 2 of the pink rose and sherbet glass. I am finishing one of the outside petals on our rose with Derwent 190. So I'm just flat coloring that one in. I'm not adding any soft pastel as a base. I'm just coloring this with the 190 coral. This is Conte Madder Pink, number 38. I'm putting over the 190. And back to the 190 as we fill in this outside petal. Using the Carbothello 100 white, I'm going to go over that, lighten this as the outside edge faces the light, and blend it with my finger. Then on the very outside edge, I'm going to use the Conte number 11 pink. It's a little cooler, and that adds a very nice touch to this particular petal. And we're going to draw the center of the flower. I'm using the 310 Carbothello carmine red pencil on one side, on the right side, and the 330 on the left side. Now we're going to color in this petal that's on the right as we go into the center of the flower. So I'm going to outline the petals outside edge with the 100 Carbothello pencil. Now I'm coloring in this petal with number 38 Conte pencil, the madder color on the inside edge, and then using the Derwent 190 on the outside edge. Up to the white line that we drew earlier, and blending those two together. And I'm using putting that edge back in with my white. It got a little covered up, using my finger to blend it, and adding a little color with the 310 Carbothello. Now I have the Carbothello 100 white, and I'm adding a little more of that to the edge of this petal and blending it with my finger. Using the 190 Derwent to finish up that little upper edge of the petal. I'm going to use the Carbothello 330 to add a shadow under this petal that we just painted, and blend that with my finger. And add a little more white. Now we're going to work on the center, very center. So using the 310 carmine, I'm going to outline the center petals. So I'm just suggesting where the darker areas are. Now I'm using the Conte 38 madder. I'm going around the 310 that we put down, the red. And then I'm going to add some white to that. So I'm just kind of painting shapes to form that center of the flower. I am following my reference drawing to locate the shapes. So this is the area where the flower petals are tightly bound up together. It's kind of hard to see what's going on. I'm going to add some darker areas with the 330 Carbothello. Using 330 in the center, Carbothello. And some more 310 Carbothello. Madder pink, number 38 Conte. Again, we're just putting in shapes in different values. And now adding Derwent 190 Coral. This is the Carbothello 100 white. So I'm going to put this over the area that the 190 Derwent joins to the previous petals. So we're going to blend this in, helps delineate it, and smooth it with our finger, and around some of these other little areas that we just drew in. And here I'm adding a little more Derwent 190. To fill in some of these tiny spaces. We've finished drawing in the center, and now we're going to refine that. So I have a Carbothello 100 white. I'm drawing in the lighter edges and refining this center of the flower. This is the madder pink. Here I'm adding the Conte 26 red violet to make shadows. A little more white with the Carbothello 100. We're just refining these shapes. And the Carbothello 310 to add some more color in the center. And back to the white, working back and forth. This is Garnet Red, Conte Pencil Garnet Red, number 39. I'm adding some dark areas. It's a very nice pencil. And the 310 Carbothello to add the brighter red. So I'm switching back and forth between the Garnet Red Conte number 39, which is what I'm using here, and the Madder Pink Conte number 38, which is a more medium value. And the white Carbothello 100 to add the lighter areas. Here I'm using Carbothello 310, the red. Put the brighter area in that, putting a little bit over what we did before. Switching to the Madder Pink to blend into that red. That looks nice. And a little bit of white. Carbothello 100. This is the 310 Carbothello, adding that red underneath that last petal that we just drew in. And then darkening that with the Conte Garnet Red number 39. Using both those reds, the Garnet Red and the Carbothello 310, to add a little more vibrant color to the rose. I like the Garnet Red. And this is the 310. So I'm deepening the colors and changing things as I see a need. Now we're down to our bottom petal, and I'm base coating it with a Rembrandt 318.9 and a little bit lighter color using the Permanent Rose, which is 397.1. So So I have those two colors there. You can see I'm using the lighter color on the outside, and then I'm going to blend them together. Using my little soft tool applicator and blending those two colors together. I'm adding a little lighter color in the very center of the petal with some additional 397.1 and blending it with the applicator. I like that a little bit better. I'm using a white 100 Carbothello to outline the edge of the petal and blend into the color that we placed down as a base coat. This is the Conte Madder number 38. I'm adding a little color into that petal now. That looks very nice, and blending with my finger. Adding white to the outside edge. It looks very nice. Adding a little more. There's a little indentation where the bottom petal bends. So we're going to do that. We're going to show that by using the Madder Conte pencil to add the shadow area of that, and we use the white Carbothello to add the highlighted area. Adding a little more red 310 and a little garnet red 39. Make that a little bit darker. I'm finishing this bottom petal with the Conte Madder number 38 and the 310 Carbothello and a little bit of the Conte Garnet Red number 39. This is the Conte 38 on this bottom area. And Derwent 190, which lightens the edge, adding dimension to the petal. We don't want to get it too light, but we do need to lighten it up some. Using the Carbothello 100 white, I'm strengthening that edge and adding a little bit of white down at the bottom of this bottom petal, lightening it up. A little more garnet red. And also some 310 Carbothello carmine red. I'm looking over my rose now, seeing if it needs to have any other color areas added or strengthened. So I'm using the 100 Carbothello to add a brighter white. Strengthen some of these areas. And some garnet red inside to make the darker areas darker. The 190 Derwent Coral. We're just making final adjustments. Now using this lovely 692 golden ochre light, I'm going to add some lighter areas to some of the petals. This is a time you look over your painting and decide, what does it need? How can I make it better? And adding just little touches of this color really brings it to life. Now it's time to add some dewdrops. We're going to outline the dewdrop with 38 Madder Pink. Then we're going to shade the drop, because the drop has, the light hits it, so it has a highlight and it has a cast shadow. So we're going to use Carbothello 330 to draw a cast shadow. And we're also going to use it at the top of the drop for a little bit of middle value. So we'll use the 38, and then we'll also use the 330 and blow off the dust. You can see me blowing the dust off. And we need to add a highlight. We'll do that with the Carbothello 100 white. We'll add a bright highlight at the top. And then we'll stroke a little bit of that down around the bottom above the shadow to give depth to our dewdrop. And we can add as many dewdrops as we want. Included in, along with this video, are some handouts that I gave my class on painting dewdrops, and I hope you'll find them helpful. So we're drawing it again, adding a shadow, and adding the highlight. And you can add as many drops to your flower as you want, but consider your light source and make sure that they're all correct. These two have the same light source and the same shadow. We're going to add one on the back petal. We're going to outline this one with the garnet red number 39 because it's in shadow. Okay, so we're going to outline that with the 39 and kind of color in a medium value with the 38, both Conte pencils, and then add a little highlight with the Conte 100, or excuse me, Carbothello 100, and a little medium value with that. It blends right in. And you, like I said, you can add as many of these as you want. And darken that shadow with a 330 Carbothello. Now we're going to draw the cast shadow on the table. We're going to do that with a Carbothello, 385 Violet Deep. We're just kind of placing some color right now. We're going to also put in some 330 deep red Carbothello, blending that into the violet that we previously put down. Now cast shadows are darkest up next to the object, and then they get lighter as they move out. So we're going to lighten that area with Conte 38 Matter. I'm going to blend some more of the 330 Carbothello into that. So shadows become lighter as we move away from the object. So I'm using my little blender to blend these together. And we're going to need to add a lighter value after we're going to make this a little darker first, and then we'll add a lighter value. So we're carrying the deep purple all the way over to the rim of the sherbet glass. And we'll put some 330 Carbothello over that and blend it together. Using the 38 Conte Matter Pink to blend into the darker area of the shadow. Blending it with my finger, or you can use your little blender. This is 750 Carbothello Black, so I want to make it even darker up next to the rose, so I'm going to add black into this and blend it into the color. Using my Derwent 190 coral to add lighter pink on the very edge of the shadow. And the 100 white right on the outside edge, and blending it into the pink. Now I'm using Rembrandt 318-9 Carmine to blend over these colors to make it a little lighter, and cleaning it up with my eraser. I like the Carmine. It added something to the colors and a little more pigment there. And blend it together with my fingers and add a little more color as necessary. Now that we've finished the rose, let's move on to our sherbet glass. For the rim of the sherbet glass, we're going to use 330 Carbothello, which is a dark red. So I'm outlining the rim on the inside edge with the 330. I'm using the Conte 39 garnet red on the outside edge of the glass. It's a little bit redder. And a little bit of Conte pink, number 11, inside, where it catches the light for a brilliant color. Using the 330 Carbothello at the top and the bottom of the rim as it gets darker. So it catches the light on that edge and it's more brilliant. But now we're going to switch to just the Carbothello 330. We're going to add a new color now. This is a Derwent number 50 Saffron. So it's kind of a yellow tone on this rim. And on the back edge of the rim. As we move over to the right side, we're going to switch back to the 330 Carbothello. Carefully draw this edge. This is 642 Caput Mortem Light Carbothello, which is kind of a gray pink. So we're adding that to our list of colors. This glass is a pale pink color. It's not colorless, so this will help give that illusion. And it's just the perfect color. And then we'll outline that with the 330. We're also adding the saffron, the 50 Derwent, over the pink. And a bit of white for the brightest highlights with our 100 Carbothello. Starting down the left edge of the sherbet glass, we're using 330 Carbothello. Then we're going to switch to the 642 Caput Mortem, which is a gray pink. Then I will use the Carbothello 100 White to make a bright highlight all the way down the side of the glass. It's very sharp, so it'll show up well. Need a steady hand. And there is a second line on the other side of the pink line that we just put in. Fill in the highlight with the Carbothello 100 White. and add into that the 642 Caput Mortem Violet. And we're going to blend those together, adding a little more white, working back and forth, creating that illusion of glass. I'm going to put in the pattern on the glass, and we're going to use 642 Carbothello, Derwent 50, which is the saffron, 330 Carbothello, dark red, and the 105 ivory. We'll continue doing this and finish up the glass and the reflection on part 3 of the pink rose. Be sure and join me there.